Umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu.
We can all be seated. That was patriotism at its best. Up next is the regional manager who is going to officially open this session. She is not new to the region. She was here, transferred to Kampala, and finally back home. So we welcome her back home, and I invite her to come and give us opening remarks as we start the session. Thank you.
Which streams from the Gulu, Lira, Kitgum, Nebi, Koboko, and Arua. The Uganda Revenue Authority overarching strategy seeks to promote a tax-paying culture through engaging citizenry, productive partnership, leveraging technology, data, and innovative staff. The Uganda Revenue Authority Tax Education Strategy 2020-2025, drawn in line with the URA strategy, focuses on several segments, among which sector-based engagements from part of Continent, a key segment targeting to redeem Uganda into the economic independence in the long run. URA, Information and Technology, and Finance and Insurance. Based on this, and because of your support, the government has been able to construct schools, hospitals, roads, and a number of initiatives. We want to appreciate you, our dear clients, for this, because it's because of you that Uganda still continues to perform its activities. This, therefore, presupposes the need for deliberate action to enhance domestic tax compliance among those sectors of the economy to meet their domestic obligation. So our goal today is to create awareness, empower and facilitate trade among sectors through data-driven tax education. Our major objectives are to improve voluntary compliance. We want to expand our tax register. We want to create real value conversations. And that's why today we have decided to bring to you, our very important stakeholders, our training regarding EFRIS. EFRIS is an electronic fiscal receipting and invoicing solution. This is an initiative under the Domestic Revenue Mobilization Program, whose aim is to address tax administration, challenges relating to business transactions, and issuance of receipts. We are expecting a number of benefits. You, actually, as clients, are going to get a number of benefits from EFRIS. Your refunds will be fast-tracked. You will reduce the cost of filing in future, since returns will be pre-filled. You will avoid penalties of late filing, as the return will be pre-filled. tracking of business in real time, to mention but a few. I do not want to preempt our main presenter, who is going to take us through this EFRIS. For this reason, I am declaring this tax baraza officially open. You are most welcome, and thank you for coming. Awardifo Emily Mosnorisi. Thank you.
Now the tax baraza has been officially kicked off and has been flagged off by the regional manager. Before you is a panel of experts. And our first panelist is by the names of Lillian Adiru, who is representing domestic taxes, stroke the taxman. The first question that's going to go to Lillian is, EFRIS is a child of URA that came into the organization in 2020, July, and was officially rolled out and it was rolled out officially on the 1st January. As a taxman, what does EFRIS bring to tax collection, tax base expansion? Take us through and tell us more about that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, moderator. If I can remember very well, EFRIS should not be something very new to most of us who have been invited here. I think from between January to June 2021, we ran a lot of talk shows regarding our Kakasa products, and EFRIS happens to be one of the products that we emphasized during that period of our sensitizations to our clients. EFRIS is not just being used by Uganda alone. We have our sister countries in the East African community who are already using EFRIS. For example, Kenya, Rwanda, Tanzania are already using EFRIS. EFRIS is one of our, let me say, very important initiative of domestic revenue mobilization initiative. It was rolled out on 1st of July 2020, but due to the coronavirus pandemic, we decided to give a grace period of 6 months to our customers who already registered and enrolled on EFRIS. It officially was implemented effective 1st of January 2021. That is the official usage of EFRIS, because we had to give a time frame for our clients to recover from the first lockdown. And also there was a request from some of our key stakeholders to give them time to prepare. For example, things to do with configuration of their stock, especially the manufacturing sector. They had to prepare themselves well in terms of configuring their stocks onto the system. So we listened to their request and granted them 6-month period to prepare themselves. And eventually we kicked off on 1st of January 2021. That was that. So because of that, we had to do intensive training, one-on-one with some of our clients who already registered on EFRIS. And since the commissioner gazetted that EFRIS should be implemented as a pilot, we decided to put on board the VAT registered taxpayers, because VAT is one of the sensitive tax heads that we have. So we had to start with the VAT registered taxpayers. So effective 1st of July, I mean 1st of January, the usage started. This EFRIS came with a lot of benefits to these clients, especially the VAT registered clients. Some of these benefits, I think some have started realizing it. Our manager briefly mentioned them. That is fast tracking and processing of our tax refunds. I think gone are the days when you'd be tasked to provide information for refund audits and all that. But with the use of EFRIS, I think everything is getting easy and faster, because the time we've been taking to process a tax refund is actually reducing, because the information we need from a taxpayer is readily available on the system, and we also have access to the same information the client has already input onto the system. Record keeping is getting better. I think the clients will testify with time. It's getting better in the sense that they are able to record their business transactions in real time. You don't need to hassle with paperwork. You don't need to. So we are able to see what the client has entered at the end of the day. We are able to even generate what the client has entered onto the system at the end of the month. So on the client's side, he is able to see how much sales he has made at the end of the day, at the end of the month, at the end of the week. So actually EFRIS is one of the most important things, not just to Uganda Revenue Authority, but also to the taxpayer. Manager said it earlier, we are heading towards having our pre-filled returns in the near future. If not immediate, in the near future we are going to have our taxpayers' returns readily filled because of the real-time transaction recording provided by the EFRIS system. So there, a taxpayer is able to reduce the cost of doing business, the cost he would have incurred in terms of late filing penalties, non-filing penalties. If you look at that, in the manual environment, the taxpayers have been maybe if they are caught up by time, they forget to put into the system their returns, we end up reminding them. So with this EFRIS, in the future, they are going to have their returns pre-filled. So there is no need for you to manually file a tax return in the near future. So we shall be able to have the same information on our side as Uganda Revenue Authority and also on the side of the taxpayer. Another benefit that is upcoming is the recent change in the policy. We are all aware that Section 45 of the TPC has been amended to include the refund of tax paid by an unregistered taxpayer. I think that benefit is going to accrue on the side of a taxpayer. Their sales are greatly going to increase because most of the consumers are aware that government has amended that section to encourage them ask for a refund of about 5% if you have purchased and the person from whom you purchased issued you an electronic receipt or an electronic invoice in 30 consecutive days. So if that kind of incentive is in place, it means our taxpayers' sales are going to greatly increase. And on that note, I am encouraging the taxpayers to do to embrace EFRIS, to issue electronic invoices and electronic receipts, because we, the final consumers, we shall be interested in claiming the 5% from the government. So if you're issuing out there your electronic receipts and invoices, it means you're going to attract greater customers to purchase on daily, weekly, and monthly basis. Another benefit that I see the taxpayers are going to get from this EFRIS, some are actually getting it, fair assessment. You know, many times taxpayers have been complaining about arbitrary assessments based on, but now if you're able to put your information into the system at the right time and the right information being input onto the system, it means at the end of the day, what we assess you will actually be what you have given to us, because we are able to view the information you have put into the system through EFRIS. As I talk now, we have around 168 taxpayers on our register for value-added tax, and out of the 165 registered taxpayers, we have 101 who are issuing what? EFRIS. So the question is, what is their challenge on their side? Because that is about 60% of our register issuing online invoices and online receipts. What could be their challenge? That one will come on their side.
Thank you, Lillian. You talked about EFRIS. EFRIS is electronic, physical, it's electronic, physical, receipting, and invoicing solution. Taxpayers, this is a chance to pick up this. But Lillian, I'll come back to you. A taxpayer is supposed to issue an invoice from the system. But any system that is networked always has challenges. Am I right?
You're very right.
Now, between the issuing of the manual receipt and the electronic receipt, what time frame are we looking at before maybe you can issue fines for not issuing those electronic invoices?
Thank you very much, Douglas. I think from here you're taking us to the different modes and devices we're supposed to use while implementing the EFRIS. We have very many options that can support whatever situation a client goes through. For example, we have system-to-system mode of connection. That is a client who already has his own system for recording his sales and purchases. If a client already has a system in place, we are supposed to connect that client onto our URA portal. That is the EFRIS homepage. We're supposed to connect them, although it costs them some, in financial terms, it costs them to do the connection. But through the system-to-system connection, one who goes through that rigorous recording of sales from the morning up to the end of the day is able to input his records of recording one's invoice and what? And receipts. We have a number of what? Options. We also have the USSD code system. That one, the client will have to actually download the EFRIS system onto his smartphone. Let me say, for example, a smartphone. So if you already have that connection, I mean the application downloaded onto your smartphone or even having it on your desktop, it can still be supported through the offline mode.
For that, Lillian. Now, I will skip the chairman business community and take my next question to the tax agent, because I believe they are the ones who file on behalf of our taxpayers. So, The gentleman is by the names of George Atima. Mr. George, if you can look at the core values of the organization, we have patriotism, integrity, and professionalism. This is now where you as tax agents, your integrity is going to be tested. Because I believe you file on behalf of the taxpayers. What they give you is what you file. But as a tax agent, and with EFRIS coming on board, how well are you prepared for this? You have 10 minutes.
Thank you, moderator. Thank you, moderator. As far as EFRIS is concerned, as far as EFRIS is concerned, I think it has simplified our work more, because it is simply for us to generate the report from the taxpayers and then file our returns. And also, EFRIS has minimized delays and costs in filing monthly VAT returns. You will find that a knowledgeable taxpayer can now file his return easily. Some have even started filing their own returns. So from there, it reduces their cost of hiring the agents. And then another benefit which we get from EFRIS is in this era of Corona, where in the past we used to post in a lot of physical documents before we file our returns. That one used to endanger us. We get closer to the taxpayers. But now, by EFRIS, that one is eliminated. I think it has saved us as the tax agents. And then also, EFRIS, the solution eliminates the risks of physical loss of tax invoices. You will find in the past, we used to suffer a lot. When URA demands for, say, tax invoices, you might have displaced them, so it becomes difficult to trace. At the end of the day, it endangers the taxpayer in a way that they can erase assessment when you provide to give records. But now, since EFRIS is on board, I think the risk of losing physical tax invoices or documents will be reduced, since it is already digitally stored. Thank you.
Thank you for that. I'll still ask you another question. I told you integrity is one of our core values.
Yes.
And integrity doesn't only stop on the taxman. It cuts across towards the agent and the taxpayer. Declared. He has done manual sales and has given them to you and tells you, file them. And then somehow, somewhere, another taxpayer files a return and shows your taxpayer supplied him goods. But when you are filing your EFRIS, I mean, when you're putting everything in EFRIS, you did not quote that transaction. Your integrity is at stake because one, you want your client, but however, the authority also wants the tax. If you...
The first thing I will do is, what I do is always, I advise the taxpayers on the dangers of evasion. That one is like you are going to evade taxes when you have failed to put the right things. Normally, I advise them to declare what is
whistleblowing. What I mean by whistleblowing is your taxpayer is not doing what is right. You're the tax agent. You want government to build roads and collect the taxes. Would you whistleblow and tell URA? Maybe you tell Lillian, my taxpayer is not filing what's supposed to be filed. Would you do that?
I think Lillian would have seen from the system. So there, I first advise the taxpayer.
Thank you very much, Mr. George. As you're all aware, URA is celebrating 30 years of tax collection. And it's thanks to you that we are celebrating these 30 years of existence. We appreciate you.
We are getting to the point. Before I answer your question, let me give you this background that in this region, we mostly have small and medium taxpayers, at most. If you look at the small taxpayers, many of them are illiterate. They do not have that background where they can be able to maybe do tax or put their return on their own. They always labor look for an agent. Between there, whatever comes from the tax agent may not be exactly what claims would have been. At the end of the day, I'm suffering with issues of taxes. Today, when we talk about EFRIS, which gives us, and in a way, professional, it gives me joy in my heart that Uganda is going forward together with USA that if all of us got on board and appreciated the EFRIS, then the issue of tax paying is we have had this challenge before, as you said by the tax agent. At times you do not have the documentation. When you ask to prove, it becomes difficult. But today, we have all the system. You check into the system, particularly those of us who are already in the system. I'm one of them. And as I said, now coming to your question, for me, since we got the information, I've been prepared. And many of us see the benefit. You see, earlier on, we will labor to prove facts, transactions. And today, you don't need to ask me any question. If I'm buying from A, if my invoice on my system, you are already. So when I'm making sales, every I make, URA sees it. Not sold anything, the balances remain, URA sees it out of the stock. And it gives us a leverage of building a stronger and better relationship with URA. And in my observation, how prepared is, earlier on we have been complaining so much about the cost of collecting these taxes. The cost of compliance has been so high. You see so many times in enforcement, a very big cost is incurred. You realize a compliance team driving all the way from Kampala to Arua just to come and do an enforcement. This is putting a padlock. Now, with EFRIS now, there is no way, I don't think, that anybody who is on the system will get his or her business having challenges. Many times we had issues with the refunds. You are now making a claim, getting this claim, the audit and what have you has been very difficult. Most of the time we avoid it. But now I think with EFRIS, it is getting much better. And my advocacy is that all the taxpayers get up and impress this. 2, appreciating URA that now, as said by the DT representative here, that using, let's work hard. That let's all the tax persons out there to embrace the EFRIS system. It is going to help us. It is going to resolve a lot of the challenges we had before. The infighting we had with URA, I believe, is getting resolved. This is one of the values of resolving it. That tomorrow, paying taxes should be as easy as taking cold water with an appreciation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate you for being among the people who are appreciating EFRIS. Thank you very much. Now, my DT representative talked about we get more from the 168, maybe we build it to 300. What are you going to do to ensure we get more taxpayers on EFRIS?
Thank you. The first dream is that every other person who qualifies to pay tax should really get on board and pay taxes. The burden of paying taxes should not be left to the few. You realize we take a lot of burden. Those of us who are paying taxes, you take a lot of burden. And I believe some of the files we get with URA is because of the burden. It becomes too much. My dream is, let's have a lot more engagements with every person doing business, a lot more engagement time to time, that URA should invest so much in engaging the business person, not the taxpayers. There are those who are out there who even are doing good businesses, they should have paid a lot of taxes, but they are not reached. Let's make the system as easy that there's no way we are going to say that only the 168 will remain. There are many others who qualify to pay VAT, and even those who do not qualify, they land and as they grow. One of the last things I will say here, I'm asking URA is, many times because of the tax payment and the burden being so much, many businesses collapse and they go out. It's like taking life out of a human being. When you lose the people, if the human beings are not there, who do you live with? Let us take whatever it may cost to get a lot more of these businesses grow. Let URA take the initiative of being of value.
You're a man of the soil. What role are you going to play to ensure that even the last man in Odramachako, the piece or the man who has a small shop in Ochoko is appreciating URA and EFRIS? What role are you going to play? Maybe they build their small business to big businesses. What are you going to play and help URA? Because minus you, we shall not collect the tax. So you are one of our biggest stakeholders in collection of tax in Arua. What role are you going to play to ensure that those small people come on board?
Thank you. I want to first say, let URA help us to help URA office to get to see how best they can be compliant. The space is not enough. At times of rain, you realize you have to stand at the veranda to wait to get in to get the services. We have always sought going to be there permanent. Let there be regular, say like customer care van that moves from one town to another. We have raised this several times. It's not happening. And that's one way, time to time and very regularly, so that we give them information and the benefits of being compliant. And if URA cannot help us in this, I don't think there's going to be any better way. You have talked about Odramachako. If we can have a 2-day customer care van based in Odramachako, where we speak in the local language to the business persons, maybe out of 20 of them, 3 or 4 will have registered in that moment. We will move on until when most of all of them get aboard and seeing the benefit, helping URA Two, engagement on media. You have been here, you saw what we did. Sometime behind, I may not speak it here. You saw the benefit. But as soon as we resolved the issue, it has disappeared. There's no more engagement in between us, URA and the business persons on media. It's not there, it has died. What happens? Is URA serious? Yeah? Many times when we request, they say it is on, we're going to make a request, it is in pipeline, we're going to call head office. I don't understand this language, head office. I believe the systems will be complete. I have to wait for Kampala, who may not even be bad about it. And today you're asking me, what will I do? What else do you think I have to do? I think the best is I'll cross my legs and hands and wait to see how far you move. But the best I will advise is, let us work as a team. Let us work as a team. And once we have these engagements, we work as a team, I think getting on board those who are not paying taxes, who are not registered, will be as easy. Finally, towards that is the issue, you know, many of our businesses come up and many times they collapse. It will be fair if URA can have a way to answer this problem. That once you are not in business, what happens? You know, many times our people are not online. They don't know the system. When your business closes today, you just park and go. But tomorrow, URA will continue assessing you. And you know, this one core discouragement.
The small one can become the big one. It's the same here. And here too. Watch every move. Record every number so you can plan better. No matter the size of your dream, tomorrow's success belongs to those who keep today's records clean. File your returns today.
Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together.
That's my little angel Rose. Together with millions of other children, my daughter Rose is assured of learning something new every day. Moses, my husband, just like many other commercial farmers, has his business supported so he can provide for us. When my other little one was on the way, even with my pregnancy complications, it was a quick, smooth ride to Mulago Specialized Women and Neonatal Hospital. Also, my new baby was able to make it through his first days with the help of specialized equipment thanks to the reliable electricity which has also been extended throughout the country. All this and more has been made possible because of you.
Join us and together let's do more for our country. Get your free tin at www.ura.go.ug.
Thank you for paying your taxes.
Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together.
Kapo, you seem to be in a hurry. Where are you going to?
I'm gonna pay URA visit.
Why would anyone visit URA? Of all places?
To know more about the Kakasa business solutions, namely digital tracking solution, the voluntary disclosure program and electronic fiscal receipting, and invoicing solution, which have turned my business around. You know I need to be on top of my game to protect my empire. If you know, you know.
I too need to know what Kapo knows.
Kakasa, be sure you are in charge of your business. Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together.
Wait, Abu, tunamaliliza. And what are you doing throwing papers all over the place?
I'm looking for an invoice for a sound system and cables that I received yesterday, but I can't find it.
You know there is a way of keeping all this in one place and available to you as and when you need it.
I really wish there was one, because the way these invoices grow legs and disappear.
I believe this is what you're looking for.
Now how did it get there?
Habo! Do you know that with EFRIS, you can stay on track of all your business transactions and improve on your record keeping?
How so?
Kati tuliku computer with EFRIS. I just search using the fiscal document number and I retrieve the records I'm looking for. Bookkeeping becomes simple after that.
Kapo, awesome, yeah.
I began using URS Kakasa Solutions and now I'm in charge of my business, and you can as well.
Kakasa, be sure you are in charge of your business.
Uganda Revenue Authority. Developing Uganda together.
In chess, the small one can become the big one. It's the same here. And here too. Watch every move. Record every number so you can plan better. No matter the size of your dream, tomorrow's success belongs to those who keep today's records clean. File your returns today.
That's my little angel Rose. Together with millions of other children, my daughter Rose is assured of learning something new every day. Moses, my husband, just like many other commercial farmers, has his business supported so he can provide for us. When my other little one was on the way, even with my pregnancy complications, it was a quick, smooth ride to Mulago Specialized Women and Neonatal Hospital. Also, my new baby was able to make it through his first days with the help of specialized equipment thanks to the reliable electricity which has also been extended throughout the country. All this and more has been made possible because of you.
Join us and together let's do more for our country. Get your free tin at www.ura.go.ug.
Thank you for paying your taxes.
Uganda Revenue
Kapo, you seem to be in a hurry. Where are you going to?
I'm gonna pay URA visit.
Why would anyone visit URA? Of all places?
To know more about the Kakasa Business Solutions, namely digital tracking solution, the voluntary disclosure program and electronic fiscal receipting, and invoicing solution, which have turned my business around. You know I need to be on top of my game to protect my empire. If you know, you know.
I too need to know what Kapo knows.
Kakasa, be sure you are in charge of your business. Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together.
I'm looking for an invoice for a sound system and cables that I received yesterday, but I can't find it.
You know there is a way of keeping all this in one place and available to you as and when you need it.
I really wish
those mics, they can actually pick us. We might not need to bend. We only need to speak more louder. Thank you so much. Over to you, the moderator.
Yes, thank you very much. Welcome back from that short break. Before me are technocrats. Allow me first welcome Her Excellency, the RCC of Arua City, Madam Alice Akelo. With me I have Mr. Adromati Dixon, the Deputy RCC, and Alex Murungi, the Acting Supervisor, Customs West Nile. The first session was about EFRIS, compliance, engagement, and if I can pick, encouraging compliance. Acting Supervisor, Customs West Nile, Mr. Alex Murungi, of the borderline. So
to answer your question, we've had some campaigns on voluntary compliance, but most especially we've had a promotion for motorcycles in Western Nile specifically, which ran from June up to 7th of this month. And people are coming to office with their motorcycles and are paying at the promotional price. So if you have realized we've not been running much against these adolescent motorcycles in the last 2.5 months. Then, of course, as enforcement, we have intelligence. We have informers as far as the inside Congo and even inside Sudan. So they get intelligence information, verify it, work on it. That's when here we have got people with the cigarettes, contraband, cosmetics. Sometimes the cooking oil has become an issue here, and we have a lot of illegal fuel. These boys, they call them the opaque boys. So we always go to the consolidation centers and pick, because they're not allowed to deal in fuel. That's illegal business. So that's what I can say for the meantime.
Okay, thank you for that. Now, the chairman talked about force, but I believe force is two-way. The public uses force. We had one nasty scenario that took place around March. About the force, Mr. Supervisor, are you going to condone the force? That is the force reasonable? Is it excessive? Are you going to condone it? Are you going to fight it? And what message do you have for the chairman business community in regard to the force that comes from the crowd? Because whereas they are condoning the force that your team is using, he does not look at the force the smugglers use. Okay. As a team, what do you have for us?
Thank you, Douglas. We have already some hotspots within Arua and maybe within West Nile, where if you go to operate, the people will return with the stones. I'll give you an example of Ondo Paraka here. It's very hard to get even a jerrycan of smuggled fuel in Ondo Paraka because the environment is so hostile. So in such a situation, first of all, when we go to the field to do enforcement, we go in numbers because the numbers matter. You've seen, I think most of the times we have 2-3 pickups with the over 20 soldiers. So when we go to the hostile environment, we make sure that the numbers are enough, and then you tend to see people withdrawing. Even those who had an intention of maybe throwing stones to you, they go away, but we still do our work in a civil manner because we're not going to fight or to beat people or even shoot at them. But on our side, we go when we are organized enough so that in case there is a backlash from the public, we can contain the situation. Of course, I do not condone using more force from our side against people who are not armed. But when people turn around and throwing stones at you, the natural thing is to defend yourself. It's natural that when someone is against you, you defend yourself. And at that point, sometimes you cannot, or dies or is injured. So I would ask our clients, our taxpayers, to always allow enforcement to do their work. Even when you're not on the right side of it, our clients are non-compliant for us in enforcement. So you still come to us and say, when you hit the food which is being cooked, or you fall down and you get injured, because our intention is not to injure you, is not to beat you, it's just bring it to the correct line. So I appeal to the chairman of the business committee. He has been doing a good job mobilizing people to really come voluntarily to register, to pay taxes. And most of them have actually responded, especially motorcycles. The biggest challenge we have is now no illegal fuel. Boys are everywhere. I don't know, because of no schools, and they are not easy to get. It's a cat and a mouse game. We chase them, they run away.
A building in town is gutted by fire. What are you bringing to us back home, Madam Alice?
Thank you very much. I want to thank you for organizing this meeting, and I want to thank all the participants that have come to attend this meeting. And I will pray that a meeting like this should be held probably every month, so that we review. Smuggling is not allowed. I think we need to tighten our security to make sure this type of fuel does not come into the city. I'm yet to learn where this fuel is got from. You people, we need to work as a team so that we carve out this. To the business community, you play a very big role in the economy of this country. Many times we dodge taxes. It is a sin to dodge tax, because without tax, the economy of this nation is not there. Therefore, we are going to work together as a team with the business community and everybody else to make sure smuggling is not done in this city. I know we have porous borders. When I was still deputy in Arua, I moved around the borders. You find people, motorcycles are packed with a lot of goods coming from Congo. And even the locals around, when they see a vehicle with a government number plate, they know Guara. When they see you, they shout some words, and then everybody disappear. So we need to sensitize these communities so that we don't allow goods from outside to come into the country. And I also want to say that I worked for a company where where I was at the helm of evading tax. I want to confess this, but the company didn't last long. So let us not evade tax. Tax is in the Bible. Tax started long time ago. Abraham did some work somewhere. When he became very prosperous, he came and paid tax to the government where he was. Today, as we talk, the last book in the Bible, that is Malachi, chapter 3, from verse 8 to 10, talks very clearly about tax. Therefore, we should not be forced to pay tax, because God is talking to people. In the Bible, tax is called tithe. It is a must that you pay tithe. The Bible is telling us, bring ye tithe to the house, to the storehouse, so that there may be food enough. And then we are being warned not to rob God in form of tithe and offerings. Now, as business people, let us pay our taxes to the tax collectors, that is URA, so that the economy is supported. Without tax, the economy of this country is down. I think that is the bit I can say for now.
Thank you very much. If I can quote Madam Alice, she's telling us that taxation started long way back. Even when God chased Adam and Eve out of Garden of Eden, Cain and Abel, smuggling is a sin, and we need to repent from the sin called smuggling. As she has said, at one time she was at the helm of the company that didn't last long. She's confessing that defiance, or lack of compliance, always has what? Bigger regrets. So let us fight corruption, me and you, together we shall develop Uganda. As our motto says, developing Uganda. Let us develop Uganda together. Don't leave it to Madam RCC, don't leave it to Madam Manager, don't leave it to me, to Alex. No, let's fight it as a team. Madam Alice,
yes,
as the chairperson of the security committee in the town and the representative of the president in Arua City, we are not faring well in terms of security, in terms of smuggling. You know, what are you bringing to us as the head of the security team in the city?
Being new, very new, I'm yet drawing up a work plan of how we are going to tackle security in the city. But I am very sure if we work as a team, like you talked about information, we should always be informed of any security threat in the city. And then we take up our mantle. I know together we are going to fight all what is taking place in the city now.
Thank you. Last but not least is the Deputy RCC, Mr. Dixon Adromati. Mr. Dixon, I know you have attended security meetings. What have you failed to do in combating smuggling? More of fuel.
I'm sorry, I'm not Mr. Domati Dixon. My name is Simon Ababu.
Simon Ababu.
I'm the Assistant Chief Administrative Officer, Arua, representing the cow.
Oh, sorry about that. You're welcome, sir. How's the cow? You're the main man when it comes to finances in the district. And most of that money comes from taxation. I do want to believe. Whereas the money comes to you from the compliant taxpayers. Be mindful that in West Nile, Arua, we have the highest number of non-compliant taxpayers. What plans are you coming with to help us fight? Because among that we have smuggling. Smuggling is one of the biggest dangers to the development of this country. Whereas someone smuggles and is selling and is getting 100% profits, the country is suffering. And at the end of the day, the district will want money to be given to them in form of a budget. So, what plans or what ideas are you going to give us here? As the taxman, as the business people, what plans are you giving us on how to combat some of these evils?
Thank you very much. The issue of tax collection is key in the sense that it helps the government to plan and offer services to the citizens. As clearly pointed out by the resident city commissioner, to improve on tax collection requires efforts of the previous people on the stage, the chairperson of the business community. What is key is, I think, awareness raising on the part of all of us. But the lead government agent is Uganda Revenue Authority, is at the lead. I strongly recommend that should be key. Some of these issues that you have been raising are due to lack of information, knowledge among our population. If we together can plan to educate the public on the benefit of taxes, rest assured, people will comply to pay taxes. Two, I want to appreciate URA for some improvement in public relations, though there are some individuals, of course, who act contrary to what, just I think a week ago, a young man I think was shot. I don't think that was called for. To bring the community members closer, I think Uganda government has all the structures on ground. Where I think we see incidences of smuggling, even across the borders, we have the local council structures. It will then be our responsibility. Our responsibility meaning URA together with the local government to move together to identify such spots and organize such we are able to change their mindset. So I want to request us to do that, such that eventually our community members appreciate the benefits of taxes. We have a lot of course, literacy with the introduction of the new systems, electronic. You should also expect challenges along there. But I strongly believe this can be addressed, where we have trainings organized for business community members, such that they are able to pay taxes as required. So I want to appreciate a lot is being done, and I strongly believe through consultations with the various stakeholders, we should be able to improve on tax collection. But it is true that we still have smuggling, and it is not good for us as a country. It is not good. And some of the goods smuggled, they are security threats. I imagine the fuel being smuggled can be a very big threat. So I think we need to cooperate. We need to work as a team. Whether URA, local governments, and its structures, all this is done for the benefit of the citizens. Thank you.
You're welcome. When I note from what you just said, irrespective of the institution, we're all government. We are the pillars of government. Now, the last question I'm going to put to you. One thing I've realized in this region, the people, the locals here have a saying and a belief that a lioness does not eat its cubs.
Lion?
A lioness does not eat its cubs. What do I mean?
A lioness does not
Eat its cubs. So I would call it collective smuggling. Because I know I will not tell Alex, who Alex is the taxman, I will not tell Alex that Amayo is smuggling. Now this brings me to my question. What would you advise us on how to handle that issue? Because I believe you've been here, so how do you advise us on handling that issue?
Connivance to commit a crime. Connivance to commit a crime is not allowed. It is not allowed. It is illegal, criminal in nature, and therefore I think we should highly condone that. As I stated earlier, our beginning point should be to educate the leaders on their roles and responsibilities. I don't think as an LC5 chairperson or a councillor of my sub-county, when roads are in poor state because government has failed to collect revenue enough to improve on the road network, people will be happy. I have never heard of that. And therefore, we should be able to educate the leaders themselves,
may not be aware of the importances of what? Taxes. You are aware that due to the introduction of democracy, their participation of the citizens, at times they bring in office people who may not be informed. So it is the responsibility of the government to educate these leaders on their roles and their responsibilities. In other words, leaders need to participate in mobilizing revenue for the government such that the collected revenue is used to for the general development of the country, to offer services and so on.
So thank you. We promise to deliver. Let us stop lying to these people and telling them smuggling is good, paying taxes, and please let us pay tax. Even in the Bible, the holy books, tax is to be paid. Jesus was asked when he was in the temple, whipping people. He told them, no, give to God what belongs to God, and Caesar to what belongs to Caesar. Who is Caesar in this case? URA, the taxman. And we are collecting for the government of Uganda. And it's no doubt that we have celebrated 30 years of collecting taxes. That is not an easy event for anyone. There have been challenges. There have been good times. There have been bad times. But we have endured and we have persevered. And with your cooperation, we have reached. And we are still reaching the golden land. So please, we appreciate you. We are going for a break. And when we come back, we have the question and answer session. We shall be taking 5 questions at a time. So let's go for a break, please. Thank you.
That's my little angel Rose. Together with millions of other children, my daughter Rose is assured of learning something new every day. Moses, my husband, just like many other commercial farmers, has his business supported so he can provide for us. When my other little one was on the way, even with my pregnancy complications, it was a quick, smooth ride to Mulago Specialized Women and Neonatal Hospital. Also, my new baby was able to make it through his first days with the help of specialized equipment thanks to the reliable electricity which has also been extended throughout the country. All this and more has been made possible because of you.
Join us and together let's do more for our country. Get your free tin at www.ura.go.ug.
Thank you for paying your taxes.
Uganda Revenue Authority. Developing Uganda together.
In chess, the small one can become the big one. It's the same here. And
you know there is a way of keeping all this in one place and available to you as and when you need it.
I really wish there was one, because the way these invoices grow legs and disappear.
Do you know that with EFRIS, you can stay on track of all your business transactions and improve on your record keeping?
How so?
Kati tuli ku computer with EFRIS. I just search using the fiscal document number and I retrieve the records I'm looking for. Bookkeeping becomes simple after that.
Kapo, awesome, yeah.
I began using URS Kakasa Solutions and now I'm in charge of my business, and you can as well.
Kakasa, be sure you are in charge of your business.
Uganda Revenue Authority. Developing Uganda together.
Wait, Abu, tunamaliriza. And what are you doing throwing papers all over the place?
I'm looking for an invoice for a sound system and cables that I received yesterday.
The chairman business community whisper 2 minutes. It's what you got.
Thank you, moderator. Thanks for granting me these 3 minutes. I want to have a mention about this vice called smuggling. I want to say, if we're in a church today, or now if we're in a church, I'll say praise God.
Amen.
Where we are, I'll not say it's smuggling. It's petty smuggling now. From where we are coming from, 30 years ago, it is now petty smuggling. We used to have what is called dumping. I'll bring my 10 containers, dump them here, no tax. That's where we're coming from. All right? Now today, if we are dealing with guys, we will bring tankers, 4 or 5 of them, offload drums, 1,000 of them here. If today we are dealing with guys who are getting fuel from Congo on motorcycles, I call it petty. And I want to tell you that we are going towards the end of this vice called smuggling. We are going towards the end. As I said, the biggest engagement we should have in this region, the biggest engagement is the cross-border trade. It's one big issue that we are not dealing with. If we go to engage in cross-border trade, I trust, other than calling it smuggling, it will be even the revenue for Uganda. That whoever comes with this is taxed, you pay the tax, we earn out of it. Other than calling it. So that we generate another better business in between Congo and Uganda. If you knew how much volume of goods go from Uganda to Congo, which also on their side they call as smuggling, we are better. So where we are, other than blending, hitting us hard, yet we are cooperative. You see, the vice where we used to fight is no more. I want to tell you. Tell me 2 weeks ago when the other gentleman was shot, was there any fight? Did you meet any resistance? Yet you shot somebody. Why don't you say thank you? All right? You see, down here, we are doing our part as business community. We are doing our part to say that let this come to an end. But a baby or a child with the mother's breast, you can't separate them until when one of them is dead. So, even that child who you have won, you have another baby, will want to have a taste of this breast because they have tested it. But virtually, when you grow up and able to eat food enough, this will come to pass. That's why I'm saying, don't blackmail us, the businessmen, too much. We are doing our part. We are going towards the end. Say thank you to us. You know, when you appreciate, somebody feels good and wants to do it better than before. That this vice called smuggling will go. This insecurity caused, corona that has caused it. It's mostly young boys. They're idle at home. They have nothing to do. They want to learn to survive. Let corona go. Let the schools be opened and you see what will happen. I trust we are getting to the best place. Heavens are nearer. If you see West Nile, 60% of the taxpayers are businessmen. If I'm lying, your records will prove. About 60% of the taxpayers are businessmen compared to other regions. You go to other regions, their businessmen are not paying taxes. Appreciate us.
Chairman, we're running out of time.
And then we say thank you. God bless you.
Wow, thank you. That was passion from the chairman, and I believe he has a good vision, and we shall end smuggling. Thank you very much, Chairman. And as I said, we appreciate you for paying taxes, because for the 30 years we're celebrating, it's because of you people. Thank you. Now, we are going to question and answer. We started from EFRIS, so basically it should be from the start, not only what was spoken last, but everything that was spoken today. We shall take five questions. So let's get started.
If you have the question, please you will move to the podium.
Move to the podium.
Yeah, thank you very much. Protocol observed, but I think I will take the opportunity to recognize the presence of our RCC, Arua, and the regional manager, ERA. I'm called Batanda Paul. I'm the city town clerk, Arua.
Speak louder.
I'm the town clerk, Arua City, Batanda Paul. I want to thank URA, first of all, for this engagement, and I request we give them an applause or a hand clap. First of all, I have few issues to bring forward. The first one is sensitization. I request we continue with sensitizing our masses. 2, materials. There is a booklet, I think it's the first time I'm seeing it. I didn't come with mine, but if we can have more of those booklets to the various MDAs and LGs, I think this will, despite the very good information on taxes and how you can pay taxes and how you can fight for your rights as a taxpayer. But it is for the first time that I'm having it. So if a city town clerk, it's my first time to have that booklet about other citizens. We have a lot of small businesses, matatu, butcher, and the rest. How is URA trying to engage these citizens of ours in paying taxes? Because you're aware that in Uganda right now, I think the majority of businesses are SMEs, or these the self-employed people, those who are riding the borders, the matatus. How are you engaging them to pay taxes? Because it is a big, pregnant force which you can tap in. Then if we can also have simplified booklets, I hope they are there probably, in our local languages probably, it also can help us push more to sensitize our people. But also, lastly, to have, probably also to have these booklets as in governments. If these booklets also can be put in various government bodies and local governments, probably we can also reach out. Because the biggest challenge I've seen is not having that communication and people lacking information. I think with those few remarks, I want to thank you again for this engagement, but also I want to add on my voice to what the panelists said. Let us have probably quarterly. I know monthly may not be possible, but if you can have quarterly engagements, I think it can help a lot. Thank you very much.
Welcome. Move to the podium.
And Madam RCC. My name is Anguyo Eric. I am a farmer. I have 2 concerns. One is I want to know who is a taxpayer. Who is a taxpayer? Two, I am going to talk about myself. At the open a company, can we agree investment? I have been mainly trading in supplies, supplying farm produce to NGOs and other people. I only transact 3 times using that company.
But of late, there has been no business. Corona has stopped everything. But I've been receiving a lot of messages from URA. So in that case, how do I go about those messages? I know they are reminding me to pay tax. Previously, when I was transacting using the company, those 3 businesses I was transacting, they have been deducting their money through bank. Because when they are paying me through check, they deduct their money. But now there is no business. How am I going to pay? The third last one, I want to thank the organizers of this sitting, especially the EFRIS education about tax payment. And I also want to thank myself for coming to attend this education. Because if I was not going to come, I will not know about this new tax electronic physical receipting and invoicing solution. Lastly, maybe this is to the presidency representative. People have been talking about smuggling here. Smuggling seems to be is becoming a livelihood for others. But I want to know from you, especially the office of the resident city commissioner, how do you help those who are paying tax genuinely and those who are not paying tax but they are gaining unnecessarily? What punishment can you give to such a people if they are got on the side of security? I know you are the chairperson of the security in the city. Because there must be a punishment. If a farmer can pay tax, what about a rich businessman who does not want to pay a tax? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good morning once again. I observed the sitting protocol. By name, I'm called Dima Ronald Opeli. I represent Lila Dike Solar Enterprises, one of the business enterprises within Arua City, and one of the biggest taxpayers. I have 2 questions concerning EFRIS. The first one is, as far as I know, we have 2 modes of credit notes through the URA system. And the first one is a credit note that is issued, which requires the buyer's approval. And then the second one is the one that doesn't require the buyer's approval, but it goes direct into the URA system. Now, between these 2 credit notes, what's the difference between the 2? Because it's a little bit confusing. Why I'm saying it's confusing is sometimes you find the producer calls you, you approve for me a credit note, And this credit note, you have seen it direct into your system. It's not there on the approval portal. But they still ask you to approve. So what's the difference between these two credit notes? The second question is concerning the systems that we use. As we all know, EFRIS came with its challenges. There are so many costs that are involved in trying to implement these systems. As businesses have been using different modes. And some of these modes are as we have seen, we have challenges. For example, internet. Once in a while you might find a disconnection in the internet. Sometimes your sales do not upload. And at the end of the day or at the end of the month, if you're closing your month, you find sales which are supposed to be uploaded for this month, you may, extend to the next month. So is URA aware of some of these challenges? And if they are aware, do they consider some of these challenges on the part of the taxpayers? The last one is not a question, but it's a kind of a request. I'm putting this across to all the business community in Arua, because I'm talking this through an experience. As the chairman business community had said, we are here to coordinate and work as a team. And our togetherness requires the support of each other. But in most cases, these URA representatives, once they come to our shops, they just come to intimidate us. They intimidate. Instead of encouraging us on what to do, they always let us down. Mr. Chairman, I think you have to note this, because if they continue intimidating us, we are losing morale. Thank you.
Any more questions? Take the podium.
Please, those who have questions, come closer so that we reduce the time at which we are asking.
Thank you very much. I once observed a protocol. I'm called Eotaru Semina. I work for Community Empowerment for Rural Development, in short, CEFOD. Basically, I have two questions, then the other one could be like a clarification to do with the EFRIS. Looking at the definition, okay, the electronic physical receipting and invoicing solution. For me, I am thinking loud on the issue of, as NGO, we do remit taxes for pay as you earn and withholding tax to work for that. Then second, providers who are VAT registered. The question has been arising. Are they also eligible to pay withholding tax? Thank you.
Thank you. Let's take this last one, then we answer to those 5 questions.
Thank you. Protocol observed. I'm not coming here to raise a question. I'm coming to register challenges that we are facing with this system. My name is Achitu George. I represent Jasco Enterprises. That is one of the taxpayers in Arua City. This system is not a bad system. We are on it. But especially the period of rolling down this system to the taxpayers, the way we are seeing has been too short. And coupled with the illiteracy level and the challenges of records, particularly in this region, I think time needed to have been given to educate and allow people to acquaint themselves with this. I think the number of businessmen in Arua is only that 160, 80 something. There are quite very many people why are they not on this system? So I'm putting this back to the URA officials to get back and see how they can help people. They can help people to embrace this system. Two, this system is fairly rigid. I think it has to be adjusted on this system, especially the issue of dates. This system reads dates forward. I don't know if there are people who are able to adjust on dates. Because of challenges we face at times, you may update your system. You will want to update your records in the morning. If you have a busy schedule, you will not have time to make your records in this system that very day. Like in the morning, when you will want to come and feed on this system, it will read your sales of yesterday in today's date. It is not possible for you to adjust the date to read the sales of yesterday. And to me, this is a bit a challenge, because we use dates for references. They should conform to the sales of that particular day, not reading dates forward. I don't know, but you will help us in that. Next, this system cannot give you alerts. We have used the other systems. Like when it comes to configuration, you can configure the same thing several times. In other systems, see, once you configure the same item twice, it gives you alert that you are repeating this configuration. Because that is already a mistake. You cannot configure one item twice. It gives you an alert, then you will get to know that you have already configured this item. But the system, you can configure the same thing several times. It doesn't give you alerts, and you'll come to find that you have configured the same item several times. I hope there could be an improvement. And this system, the success of this system is dependent on network. And if you have very many customers you are serving, you see, this system poses a bit of a challenge. It is dependent on network, and if you have very many customers you are serving, I think about them, and we always want to serve our customers first and then they go away. This system came in a period where we had COVID, and really, as I said before, not many people are on it. I will want to request the URA that they need to organize a kind of training to convince more people to come and join this system, because it is a good system so far from what we have seen. Only that many people need to be taught how to work on the system. A general comment as I close. URA is a lead organization tasked with the responsibility of mobilizing and collecting taxes. It should not be seen as a problem to the business. They should facilitate and partner to promote business. And if you resemble people, businessmen in Arua here, and ask them, what are your problems you face in business? And they will mention URA as one of their problems. Why does this one come? People talked of information. I want this kind of engagement to continue. This is my first time to attend such kind of engagement with URA. And if this one continues severally, I think many people will get to appreciate the work and role of Uganda Revenue Authority. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Let's first answer to this. Excuse me. Let's first answer to these 5. Before we go on to answer these questions, I would like to recognize the presence of our Honorable Mr. Atima Lee Jackson. You're welcome. Give him a hand, give him a hand clap. Thank you, thank you. As you answer these questions, I will task Madam Alice to answer that question first about how you can punish the non-compliant taxpayers.
I want to say that this kind of meeting should continue so that if these people have proper bookkeeping, I think it is the role of URA to find out what kind of bookkeeping these people have and check if they have evaded any tax. Then I think there are penalties that URA gives to those who have evaded taxes. I don't know. I think so. But as security, I don't think we have any punishment for such people. But I want to encourage you to report such people to us, those who are evading taxes, so that we work hand in hand with URA to find out why they're doing what they're doing, so that they're brought to book and then they continue paying taxes normally.
Thank you. Lillian, when I pick from RRCC, you are the one to answer these and the questions that follow about EFRIS. Go ahead and answer. You can summarize all those questions in your submission.
Can I take it from the first question?
Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Douglas. I think the first question came from the town clerk of Arua City concerning sensitization, tax literature, and taxation of the small businesses, specifically the matatus and the butchermen. If I can remember very well, we've been having a program for taxpayer register expansion, which has been overseeing the taxation of the small businesses. And actually, this very program has been located. It was located in the Arua Hill Division. Unfortunately, we had 2 divisions at the time of the municipality. One division is in Olid River, one at Arua Hill. But the TREP program was situated in the Arua Hill Division. And this program had a lot of activities other than various sectors that fall under the small business categories, where at times even the butchermen were falling in. We are kind of at a halt, because we were restricted to have such gatherings exceeding 20 people. We were restricted from at times even having our mobile movements, door-to-door movements, meeting the clients. That was in the first lockdown. So around that time, this program was suspended. We have 3 partners undertaking this program. We have Uganda Registration Services Bureau, we have Uganda Revenue Authority, which is the mother project owner, and then we also have the local government, which is under his supervision, and he was responsible for the supervision of these PrEP activities. So since COVID-19 affected a lot of activities, URA representatives under the TREP program were suspended, although the local authorities continued with their activities. The same applied to the Uganda Registration Services Bureau. And as I speak now, the contracts of the URA TREP officers ended. It has not been renewed, but ideally, the program under the local authority is supposed to continue. And how this program runs, I don't know whether that division and Oli division, how this program has been running is the client is supposed to visit the local authority office for their services. But before they give any service to that client, they first refer the client to the desk of URSB, which is in the same office that